Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe I can coordinate that. Have him call it. Have him call him, yeah. If Jeffrey can make it, I'll have him call you, Eddie.
Okay.
Yeah. But 3 weeks ago, we had a whole private meeting. And then by the end of the month, they were Harold. Yeah. So folks are kind of out of the country right now.
And we got all the governors in town.
Right now?
Yeah, National Governors Association is meeting here in Des Moines.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Where are they meeting?
I saw 2 white buses outside the Marriott when I got out of the bus there.
So Branstad's fearlessly leading them into closing down all the mental health facilities? Is that what he's giving them advice on? Or is it Scott Walker still? I don't know.
Probably both.
I think they're already closed.
Well,
They took 15 beds for our children about a month ago.
Really?
Closed them down.
My sister was working at the one in Toledo, right before it closed, and she couldn't say anything about it, but she wanted to. But $20-some million in renovations just before they closed it.
Right down the crapper.
Private contractors.
Yep, and then they pushed all the girls, of course, out of the state. So the girls didn't have any local access at that point. So, and there was very little said about when the girls.
Yeah, that's where they put a gag order on the employees at the fire.
Yeah.
And I bet they don't get any help with finding another job.
No, they didn't, and she got it. Yeah, it was a very complicated mess, but it didn't do any benefits for the girls. That's for sure.
Probably did them more harm.
Yeah, definitely. But the boys' home's still open. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
As far as everybody knows.
Eldora?
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to do what Mayor 1% did in Chicago.
Unless that might be the last remaining one that's actually open.
Yeah.
So I know someone who had to go to inpatient treatment, and she ended up having to go to Iowa City for that. To the hospital, the main hospital in Iowa City, the university.
I'm not saying those homes weren't without their issues. They probably were, but to think that the girls had nowhere to go in the state and they started farming them out to the surrounding states, that doesn't seem right,
Yeah. And their families who actually have relatives that care about them,
Yeah.
what's that do to them?
Yeah. To visit, whatever,
Or are they even, or were they even notified where they're going so they could at least send mail?
Mm-hmm. Were you at the Black Lives Matter march?
Oh yeah.
Last week?
Yeah.
I didn't see you. I saw
there were 2,000. I was wearing a multicolored, some kind of peacock dress.
You were a peacock.
Yeah, I was wearing what I call, what people are calling a peacock dress.
Really?
Oh, it
Yeah.
was so beautiful.
So we could see hope in just even what you picked out, huh?
Well, I had just come from the mosque, so I went home. I picked up a few things from the mosque that I had left there. I used during Ramadan, but I didn't need to have them there anymore.
Yeah.
So I collected those, brought those things home. I didn't even change my shoes. I was wearing these flip-flops with these plastic crystals on the thong part.
Yeah.
And not good for marching. So I dropped bags that I had. I picked up this one and picked up my water bottle, and I was out the door.
Jeffrey said it made it sound like we showed up to a rally and a march broke out, but I think I had always intended for the march to happen, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I get from when I was,
Because I didn't really think about it either. I was like,
yeah.
I wonder if they'll
Yeah, I even heard some people saying go to the Capitol while we were still at the police station.
Well, I took a picture from the other side of the bridge once Patty and I walked over, and just by that alone, the whole bridge was full.
Yeah.
Yeah. There had to have been over 200 people.
No, 2,000. People were saying 2,000.
2,000?
Yeah. I was guessing about 500, but I had no idea how deep the crowd was until I heard people saying when we were crossing the bridge.
Oh, look at Carol's here today.
They had.
One thing that irked me is when the Des Moines Register reported on it, they said a large crowd. And if we show up with 6 of us, they'll always give the exact number. A half dozen peace people came. Yeah, it's like hundreds of people were out there. And you're
But with a large crowd, they always lowball it.
Oh, believe me, I was like, you have to be joking.
Yeah, they always lowball those things.
People out for anything, and then just the fact hundreds came out for that was an amazing show of solidarity for everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
You know?
And I've been watching live streams of the marches in other cities, and they're doing it in Montreal, and in London. Yeah, other side of the pond.
Well, actually, Black Lives Matter in Toronto ended up combining with Toronto's Pride Week to try to bring awareness to some of the more like issues of oppression of like both groups and stuff like that. So,
especially,
that was interesting.
And then yesterday I was watching a live stream of a Black Women's Lives Matter protest in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
And they kept mentioning Sandra Bland.
Yeah.
So
that was the 1 year anniversary
of her.
I don't want to call it an anniversary. The 1 year observance of her
murder.
Of her death. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it been a year?
Yeah, said she was murdered.
It was. That's what they said. It was the 1 year anniversary of it. So. Well, I get my vitamin D for the day when I'm out here. Are you getting ready for the 40th anniversary? You heard about that, right, Keelan?
Oh yeah, there's a Facebook event for that.
Yeah, and John got me all signed up for it because I was having trouble with the website, so he got me all situated. Good with the social media stuff.
Yeah.
If I go, like out of Queensland, if I did it from St. Joseph's Shoulder.
Yeah. Actually, there are 5 Thursdays
I'll sing and dance to that. Privacy, yes, but sure.
I just shot a picture.
Good. You can send that one to me too. Please and thank you. But I have a wedding in New Orleans at the end of the month. And I'm really interested to spend a day I've never been there really. I mean, just drove through once as a kid. And I think it'd be really interesting to see, not that I know whether they have a commemoration for Hurricane Katrina, but it would be interesting to know how the city itself has commemorated that. Yeah, because it's still ongoing, the issues from it, But, because I don't want to show up and just be a spectator like, what's going on here?
I was watching a Black Lives Matter live stream from there.
From New Orleans?
Yeah, and you can still see a lot of the areas that are just vacant, I don't know if they're going through Lower Ninth or what, but that is the area that is still
seeing
it's
problems.
And they rebuilt it.
very, very little. And the people who want to rebuild down there are having such a hard time getting help doing it.
Well, think about how many years have passed. That's pretty intense to live in a country that supposedly prides itself on, rebuilding and investing in its own infrastructure, and then to think that I've seen some memes that have said all lives matter, except for Syrian lives, except for New Orleans, residents' lives, except for, and they kind of go on and how we pick and choose, based on the issues and based on lots of different kinds of bigoted and racist views too. But it was interesting to get that perspective.
Yeah.
Like, all lives matter until it's a life we don't know if we want for it to matter,
And I've been hearing that, all lives will not matter until Black lives matter, So I was hearing that on some of the streams that I've been watching.
Yeah.
The same can be true for First Nations.
Yes, right. And some people talk about how some places don't have the same problems, but like, for example, as I said, in Canada, the Black Lives Matter movement's very active there.
Yeah. Up in Canada, Toronto, Montreal.
And they've had, over the last few decades, a slew of disappearances of Native women.
By the hundreds, if not thousands.
And so basically people, in some cases they found the murder, but not getting justice, until much later, and the police not investigating to the same degree, like, oh, well, she's disappeared, she was just a prostitute kind of thing, even though there's nothing stating that. And I'm sure trafficking's been a part of it too, but they have a big issue there with
and even right up until not all that long ago, children were taken off of the reserves. They call them reserves up there instead of reservations. They're taken off the reserves, put in these boarding schools, and basically brainwashed so that they're stripped of their tribal identity.
And recently they've come out and started making some level of amends for that. They've tried to start...
Trudeau's starting something, but I'm sure he's going to have a hard time getting done what he wants to do.
But you're right. They have a real sordid history with that. Surprisingly loud down here. Well, there's more people using the public space today than there was.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing the kids splashing around in the water.
Yeah.
And we are not properly dressed for that.
That's right. I got to get my sunscreen on every day, or else.
I have what's called a burkini. It's like a full body swimsuit, and it has SPF incorporated right into the fabric.
Really?
Yeah. So it just covers everything but my face, my feet, and my hands.
You're on top of the fashion world for sure.
When I first saw those online, I was thinking, dang, I wish I had these when I was a kid. It would have saved my skin a whole lot of grief.
Yeah, I mean, after the first burn, I'm fine. I just tan, but I don't like it. As the older I get, the less sun I want, on my face. Because my grandfather died of melanoma, so I don't want to. I have all the
that jacks your wrist.
The light hair, the light eyes, light skin. It's like I don't really want to take that chance, It's nice to know your family history when it comes to things to watch out for.
Yep. Yeah, I lost my dad and my maternal grandmother to cancer 6 months apart.
Oh, what?
Back in 2008.
Was it, what kind of cancer?
Well, my grandmother it was in her bones, her lungs, and her lymph nodes, and I think her liver. And then my dad had it in his brain, his lungs, and his lymph nodes. But his was so aggressive that he only lasted 1 month after his diagnosis. So either it was that aggressive or it was just festering so long before he actually got it detected.
Yeah. Yeah, they say that the detection is key,
Yeah.
You can catch things early enough.
Yeah. But I've had 2 relatives survive breast cancer.
Yeah,
and I've had some in-laws die from a couple of different cancers.
I guess on trying to catch that before it spreads really fast. It's good to know your family history, though. Just days.
Yep.
I showed my mom my sign, and she's like, well, it's definitely been well researched. If anybody cares to actually know about these companies, they can go find out.
Oh, yeah. You know, I was up in Chicago back in 2012 for the NATO protest. And we did it. Well, I didn't do it because I was watching. I was running with street medics, but I was shooting pictures as well. You know, they did a die-in right in front of the Boeing building.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's like a huge building in Chicago.
Yeah, it is. And there's a die-in right in front of there. So we closed off that intersection for at least 45 minutes before we moved on.
Nothing new. Unless since last week. It's not supposed to be right. Which that's probably the hardest part to your life is when that kind of thing starts to come out, you know.
So who told her she shouldn't drive?
Well, it's prescribed for 6 months after you have the kind of thing she has, because, and my mom's boyfriend had the same thing. It's precautionary.
So it's only 6 months. It's not permanent.
From what I've heard so
she
far.
can keep her fingers crossed.
That's what I've heard so far. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those, you know, after you have certain procedures,
Right.
you have you have a weight restriction where you cannot lift anything above a certain weight
Right.
for a
Hey,
certain amount of
Heard
time.
about the big peace protest that's supposed to be happening in D.C. at the end of September, like right after International Peace Day, like I think around the 24th.
I haven't seen anything about
I
that.
saw something online about it, but I didn't know how big it was going to be and if anybody local was planning on going. But
What's the date? The 24th?
I want to say it starts the 24th.
I'm in D.C. at that time for some other stuff, so I will.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be something you could sniff out.
It's a bigger organization coordinating it, but then in addition, Campaign on Violence and a few others are going to get involved.
Okay.
So I wish I'd taken down the details now because I'm curious to see if we hear about it around here, you know?
Sure.
So,
I have contact with the streamer in DC.
no.
I have contact with the streamer in DC,
Oh, do you?
so I could send him a tweet and ask if he's heard
Yeah.
anything about it.
Yeah, or I could do a quick search too, but it'd be interesting to know. And then there's somebody local trying to set one up to go to Arizona to the new SOA, which I guess they've moved to School of America's down there. She just came back
Ooh,
and she's trying to set up a bus to go in October.
wow.
And I forget the name of the place where they've moved it, but yeah, it's just like Monsanto. They get smart, change their name, change their location, but they're not that smart because people are following it. But yeah, they moved it to Arizona. So
Ooh.
they're not at
No, they're not in Virginia.
Yeah,
Was it?
right.
It was it Virginia, I think it was,
Georgia.
or Georgia. It was down in yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, Eddie knows about it. They're going to the wall to protest. Yep. So
I know
thought that
Jane Majors. I don't know if you ever know of her. She's been a long-time anti-nuke activist.
Yeah.
She protested down at the School of America so many times.
Yeah. This is along those same lines, but that's another option as far as something going on nationally. I know I can't do everything, but it's been a while
Yeah.
since I've been to 2 years since I've been to one in DC. So, in fact, I told Mom I thought you were there with us when we all went in 2004. I think you were on that bus.
I've never been that far east. I've only been as far as Columbus, Ohio, and that was way back in '83.
That one. Yeah, I was on that one with you guys.
And that was a school activity that I did way back in '83 when I went to Columbus, Ohio. That's as far east as I've gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You gotta get on one of those buses then, Kaylin.
Well, I have to. I can afford Megabus.
Hello. How are you guys?
Well, not right now, of course.
Yeah,
I'm flat
that's
broke,
okay
but
with us.
you know that's how I got to Chicago was a Megabus back in 2012. It cost me $35 to get there, and $25 to come back. I mean, it would have cost me, if I would have taken Greyhound, it would cost me over both of those combined just to get there, if not more.
Well, I'll bring the information 2 weeks from now if I can find it and hand out to you guys in case you hear other people who are interested too. Whoa, there goes your head. Wind picked up out of nowhere.
Yeah, it tends to swirl around these buildings. Not so much down here, but around the taller ones, it tends to swirl a lot.
Yep.
Need to put a chin strap on that hat.
I had one, but I took it off.
My mom tried to give me her hat before I left, and I said, Mom, you know what it's like for me to try to wear a hat? Like sitting it on top of something puffy and that won't do what I want it to do. You always want what you don't have. People tell me, oh, there are people that pay for perms. I'm like, why?
Yeah, who needs to be bothering with that crap?
But it's true. I mean, you always want to try something new that you don't have, so. Hi.
Well, there's supposed to be one, I think, this weekend at
Well, so far it's been nice every day, so it's a good thing. All right. Yep. And
Yeah?
Eddie, I'll talk to Jeffrey, and if he can pick you up, I'll have him give you a call. Okay? See you all in 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
I'll have Jeffrey call Eddie if he wants
All right.
to.
Otherwise, Carol might be on board too.
Okay. All right. Take care, you guys. Good to see you.
Bye bye.
Tell me your name again.
Erica. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had it just signed it.
Yeah. No problem. See you soon.
All righty, bye-bye. Eddie, do you have my phone number somewhere?
I had it, but
You're as bad as I am. Come on.
well, I lost it in a bunch of clutter on the table. I don't know if I still have it or not.
Same. I bet I can claim the same. But I'll try to follow up because I think I'm available next week. I have to consult my calendar and all, but I'll be able to give you a ride.
Well, thank you.
But if,
Jeffrey said that I did think that Jeffrey might be able to.
let's put Jeffrey in the number one spot, and I'll try to get back. I'll try to check up with the next week and see what the situation is.
Okay.
I can just leave a message there at.
Yeah. Norman, my roommate don't comprehend much. He can't hear that well.
Okay. Well, so I can just drop by and leave a note on the back door too.
Well, I would say I will try. You have a machine at home?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave your home number on her machine. And then if you can get the machine at his house, then he would.
Okay.
Norman doesn't like the message.
Okay.
And if Norman answers, say, I need to leave a message for Eddie, and he'll let you call back.
Good. All right. That's system.
That's my latest system.
Okay. And when calling mine, my outgoing messages in Des Moines, you have reached you so by if you'd like to leave a message. So my name doesn't come up, but that's me blabbering on. You get to choose whether you want to leave the message or not. And I never say, please leave me a message. I don't need any more messages than that, but you know, of the wrong kind.
A lot of time for you.
yeah, which is good.
You know anybody that needs that shelter coordinator job?
There, I just sent her the picture that I took. That's one thing I haven't been close to either.
You have what?
I haven't been close to an ocean either.
They're hard to find right now.
And back in '86, I went down to Mexico for a month, but I stayed in Guadalajara and 1 week in Mexico City. And when our group did not have any scheduled activities one weekend, 11 of the 13 of us went to Puerto Vallarta for the weekend to just lay on the beach and fry themselves.
Yeah.
But I'm not about that. I stayed in Guadalajara. I figured there's something more enjoyable I could be doing.
You trying not to get sunburned?
Yeah. And the youngest member of the group, when I saw her the next day at the school that we were attending while we were down there, she was wearing a red tank top. She was so red you almost couldn't tell where the fabric of her tank top ended and her bare skin began.
She got burned up.
Oh yeah, she fried herself good. She did not use any kind of sunscreen or anything.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and she paid for that.
You can end up second and third degree burns just being out there all day.
Yeah, she said it hurt just to take a shower.
Well, and skin cancer 20 years later too.
Yeah.
It's not a one hit on that. Gorgeous day.
How's Sherry doing? Sherry Hutchinson.
Well, Carol was just asking. And then Erica said that the doctor, after her little incident of the heart attack or whatever she had, that they're asking her not to drive for 6 months.
So you're laying odds on whether or not she can do that.
Well, I hope so.
Well, you know Sherry, I don't know.
Even if you take certain medicines, a lot of them will have a caution. Just don't drive or operate machinery until you know how the drug affects you.
Yeah,
Some of my meds are like that. Of course, I don't do either anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, she'd been making that funny joke about when she got rid of her car, she signed a 5-year lease, I think. And she was joking with the guy about,
5 years.
what do you think the chances of this are? And he said, don't worry about it. She said, so I did.
Well, I think we've hit our 15 mark and then some.
Oh, okay. I think my watch is running close.
Yeah, mine, the last one I was wearing, finally the battery crapped out and I just haven't been able to get new ones, so I've been using any device that I can with the clock on it.
Oh. Yeah, I just.
Yeah, it's a 1220.
Oh.
Hey, what the meter maids do?
I'll see you next week, I guess, sister.
Yep.
Are you coming to the activities around World Food Press?
Oh, there may be something else that I'll be doing. I may be live streaming an interview with the first recipient of the World Food Prize.
Wow. Who is it?
It's that Indian guy who was Borlaug's assistant.
Is he a good age?
Well, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, this will conclude today's Peace Thursday vigil. For there may be some different people coming up next week. 11:45 on Tuesdays in July at least. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the streams.